Without anything destroyer, always conquer. I have straight my conquer. The founder of the indulgence destroyer, the one God belongs to the completely perfected body of rising moon. The God and Lord of the world, teacher of God to you completely and fully related. Without transient destroyer, I prostrate my God. With the training to you, I prostrate. And comparatively light. This day you have in great perfection. The fountain of the qualities like the constellation. The purity that brings one from the vision, the reality that brings one from the powerful divine to the dark of the next place of the street. No, divine community and healing virtue. Homage to the supreme Lord, homage to the God of refuge, homage to the great temple, to all worthy of respect, thou was body, whose weakness all around sections in all with supreme faith I take. Do not commit any longer to sections, or any to sections. The pursuit life authority, the stability of religion. A star of visual liberation of life and the religion of God to or above. A dream of virtue life and love, speaking vision things as such. Through these merits, so to the fall hope and deliver the concept of devotion, deterred by the waves of aging citrusy. Page 15. I prostrate to the Ariat of Virgin. Thus did I hear at one time. One was going skill of great community among the great community at that time, by one was absorbed in the concentration also at that time, the bodies of built upon the very practice of the profound fiction wisdom and through the power of Buddha, the venerable therapies of the Vedas, how the innate limited strength through which is to practice the activity of the mind. He said that the body Shall Buddha any some of the lineage or which is to practice the activity of the look upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly behold it was private and which also is included here feature. All instinctively exists form, emptiness is not other than form is also another than the same way discrimination, conceptual factors and consciousness are into. Shall rise all phenomena are into without characteristics. There's a form, no sound, no odor, no place, no object, no touch, and no phenomenon. There is no I element in the soul after including the mind element, and no mental consciousness element. There is no ignorance and no extinction of ignorance of the soul to the including of aging and and the extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation, and path. There is no soul wisdom, no attainment, and also no limiting. Because there is no attainment. Bodhisattva's rely on the development of perfection wisdom. The mind without observation, without fear, having completely passed beyond error, they reach the end point of their mind. All the Buddhas who dwell in 3 times souls only are peacefully completely awakened to unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment and reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequaled, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, could be known as the truth until it is not false. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared. Kayata Gadi Gadi Parakati Parasamgati Bodhisattva. Chandrakirti the Bodhisattva Mahasattva should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like that. In the Bhagavana writes of that concentration and commended the Bodhisattva Arya Vichamara saying, well said, Sambhuli. It is like that. It is like that. One should practice the profound perfection of wisdom just as you indicated. Even the Tana was rejoiced. The Bhagavan having thus spoken, the Venerable Sharadavadita, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Vichamara, those surviving their entirety along with the world of gods, humans, and souls and conducts, were individually and highly graced, spoken by one. 25, short mandala. I see broken to the same little drum, when rolling, she again by some days in the radio by the
Rani Jibo get the Duyachi de Maimba, Taye Marin Simji Tamji, and it did to Yachi, Sanji Kumato to teach the Lam, Jula Kevo, teach the Lam, Jula Kevala Lam Shew, the Shevala, 2 years, and Jenny. We learned the champagne, Gun Sambanabata, which is Simba. Gun Jeshu was right.
So, first, correcting our intention that we will listen to the teaching on the Four Noble Truths, not just for ourselves, but for the limitless numbers of sentient beings existing to the limits of space, who equally do not wish to suffer and want to actualize well-being, so happiness. In order to bring it into the state of Buddhahood, one has to cultivate a path. In order to cultivate a valid path consciousness, you have to generate it. In order to generate it, you have to know how to do it. In order to that, you have to hear about it. So please listen to the teaching with the beneficial intention.
Hoya da gawa gomra ramsa tri. Inde di chungbo chujik tu chungwa de. Gawa sambo yin tin gawa gomsra.
I do think that we have the opportunity to listen to this turning, the Sutra of the Turning of the Four Noble Truths.
Hoya da du samdang na yawar samsam tang zo tamalin nang nangba ki ni chue di tongma hansan di su sungbre sirwa. Ani ne kawa sungbre tuzu katu sungbre sungse hansan su sungbre kansungya ki chue di kare desangma tangme na ani tanda dinshi katu lawa di kurum di ye di tagda dhugu yorirwa.
Sometimes it's useful if one reflects in the following manner that, you know, in terms of this world, who taught Buddha Dharma? What was the place it was taught? What time was it taught? To whom was it taught? And what Dharma was taught? And sometimes it's useful to think about it in terms of the steps like that.
Chisa kansan su sungpura diyo daja dhomba shaja tewe sungpura rwa.
Yes.
Daja dhomba shaja tewe loju dhizo dat dhizo tingsan taja dhanda loya dhwa desi shena yagu yorwa.
Yeah.
Tine yu rwa, yu di varanasi lore, varanasi. Varanasi dishi chungpo sungpura. Tu di nenganzo pewe panda chukwe tsewa shi rwa. Panda chukwe tsewa shi la sungpura. Ani sungse kansan di koranga di sangpos. Mi bidungare tiring kyaran konga de sambrishide.
So who taught the Dharma was Shakyamuni Buddha, and the history of which one can, you know, you can read it, study it online and so forth. The place was Varanasi. The time was the 4th of the 6th Tibetan month, or the lunar calendar. Who were present were the 5 disciples, much like there are 5 of you today. Don't exist. One? Exactly.
So Fiona. That's in a duty shasta. Hello, the council
watching on YouTube.
Huh?
Some people watching on YouTube too. Live streaming.
Yeah, the council chudilla, Tembashi Sirva.
The Dharma taught was the Four Noble Truths.
Tanzo Tanda de Dunge Tembashi di ni Dunge Demba, the Kunjineba, Rosimba Shera, Mogdenda, Lamdenda, Gogdenim, the Shever. Karsanada, Koala, Juberi, and the Shene, Dugdenda, Lamdi. Dugden said, Maranzo Ludin to somewhere. Do not do dingy. Yawa de la ya, Nuji Chigden, Juji Simjans, Nuji Chigden together, Juji Simjans. Those are not to get them, but to their Roda. Tako, Jimel than a chomar, you led on your moon than a chomar, as a Kunjung. Large Kunjum, but the new moment Kunjum, but still there de la Yawamangushi or.
So the Dharma that was taught was the Four Noble Truths. And true sufferings, true origins, we've been through those. True paths and true cessations, perhaps we'll take them together. In terms of the first two, true sufferings and true origins are Chukbirimba, how cyclic existence is like initiated or entered into. And we said that with regards to true sufferings, it is exemplified by one's body, or one's body is an illustration of that. Or we could divide true sufferings into the world and the sentient beings that inhabit that world. We know that those true sufferings don't come about from no cause, but they come about by karma and disturbing emotions, which are the two divisions of true origins.
다 이제네 코라 도베르며 언신네 니 꼭된다 람디엔스와 디시리오라.
And in order to reverse the cycle of existence, samsara, we have the latter two truths, true cessations and true paths.
그래서 꼭된라디 아니 꼭된스가 저보단 되버봐. 저보 직단 되베 온게 아니 고 녀모 가는 꼭베 바고바. 까봐 까베기 아니 까져데 뎀바들라 꼭된스와 저보단 되베 저보다 지레레지기 치리데로 저보단 되베 칙로와.
So true cessation, that state, it has to be affiliated with a person where the afflictions are removed from the mental continuum.
더 넘버 먼저 꼭된스야 데 넘버지기나 디토라다 꼭된스이디 아니 컨데지 용비메디 시베첸 디토라야 아니 베전시다 꼭된스기 꼭된스이지 유에다메스와 꼭된라야니 아니 남자지 템바 남자지 템바당 아니 녀몽바 칸여지던 테베 태와질라 꼭된스 진시기요 코데오시나 코데오시나 테르데.
Okay, so in terms of Buddha Dharma and true cessations, it's good to know about it. How is it? Does it exist or not? How does it come about? So then that definition of true cessations is within the aspect of the truth of complete purity. Namjong Dempa Kanshi.
녀몽 칸 테베 태와.
Yeah, it is the state within the, the truth of complete purity, completely free from affliction, or where affliction is distinguished, removed, excuse me.
제가 딱 계신 건데 저와지와 꼭된기 여와 군주된마다 남데다 꼭된 두네다 세우차잖아. 그진 꼭된 남데게 여와데 그 칼레스 저와지여와. 아들이 꼭된기 여와다 남데기 여와데 지금 마님도 트레이너 랍샤나라.
So the question was last week about the different divisions of true sufferings and true origins, which we've been through. And how about the latter two are true cessations and true paths?
다 꼭된라 신이 단계의 관다 코데오듯이 아니 여와라 여와라 주와 꼭된라 여와 주 제가.
So that's that definition of, within the aspect of truth of complete purity, being completely free of afflicted states, afflictive emotions. But then there are also 10 divisions of that truth of cessation. 10.
Yes, 10. yeah. Two genetic, two social, and two social, right?
If you want to, I'll make 2 for you.
Tabo 당문에 어디라래. 타고지 당문에 이제 니 따라래.
Like a false one and a real one.
Oh yeah. 그래서 이 요디에 대한 세션은 아니 세우자 그래. 다 타보 어디라 당부두스 랍시는 되게 베제나로 타고 니월 샤도와 대고 올라대. 다 대고 같은 타고 어디 방고체로 다이고 텔라 다이고 와서 다이고 와. 민디 랍시는 베제나시 랍시는 당보디 다이고 와치. 니워디 사베고 와. 와.
Mari kin din na tango di sabe to.
Mara chetan dinge gushula시라고 요래래. 이 다이고 와서도 고된 타보로. 신다 구즈모 신이래. 신한테 지야마 제제 투두다데.
Le penayena ngo tok susu macheba wan chu ne.
제단.
Mo zabe to den dai to pa.
다 당보니 니워서 니워 당고서다 녀로야 맞잖아.
Ale
콘솔에 빼져야만 돼 투구만. 지난데 등나디고.
Okay.
당보디 다이 고바 제로와
Yeah.
아니 니버디 사베 고바
Yeah.
숨바디 된다베 고바 아니 시버디 용수 마조베 고바 나와디 용수 조베 고바 아니 두고 잼베베 고바 젠다 제베 고바 하제 고바 하메냐마 하 개발대 법에 고바단 주시지다고 왜 예와 주디래로 당연히 신시리를 납샤고라
Right. So Gisela, the Dai, because I Dai Gokpa the
거기 답어
Isana, Pejana.
당연히 말에 콘소 민디게 말라다 하는 게 대시지를 자
Yeah, Yang Ming the this Ratio.
다세 민디 민담 좀 해줘 turn
Yeah, does. Yeah, okay. So now going through these 10 types of cessation, the first one is like cessation in name, or like a temporal abandonment, temporal cessation. The second one is like a profound cessation. The third is an ultimate cessation. The fourth is a not thoroughly completed cessation. Is that the third or the fourth? Fourth. And then next comes the thoroughly complete cessation. Fifth. The sixth is the cessation without ornament. The next one is the cessation with ornament. Then there's the cessation with remainder. Number 9. Are we up to 9? Yeah. Cessation without remainder. And finally, minebe nangde, or non-abiding nirvana, which is exceptional cessation.
다 당보디 다이 고고 써야 돼 당보디 다이 고고 써야 돼 직된베 남지 되는 문제와를 식방배 방바스라로 하시나 직된베 남데 가서 신에 들어와 신에다 아니야 또 신에 그 떡에 네 먼저 되베기 녀모 문제와를 식방에서도 신에 냠네 양양 출래인 거로
Yes.
제단디 다이 고고라서 되고 고바스 파 민다샤르메시 오늘 이 고네래요 말이에요. 어디다.
So this first one, perhaps we could rephrase that and say it's just like cessation in name. I said temporal, but actually what it is when you are abandoning the abandonments of the desire realm, the afflictions, let's say you cultivate calm abiding, and you've only temporarily abandoned their gross manifestation. You haven't completely abandoned them. So it's just like a kind of cessation in name. It's not a true cessation.
다디 유림디나 랑안저 만한저 상모데스 땅나야 거래. 배나 항모 나은저 신내지다 요마라던다로.
Yeah.
신내 요마래. 아니 만한저 다 전환상 옥중 검제 거라.
Yeah.
항일 옥중 검마자 배나 덴데셔나 되래. 다 뒤에 수수그 졸람나 다제치 그러면서 다제인데 다 단단하게 올라가는 게 정치슈 가래로
Yeah.
아래 정치슈 가래 배나 다 정치슈 밀려야지 수수 콘도사도 아니 밀려 식 독자 쇼야 되나
Yeah.
아래
Yeah.
다 배차 된다고 지기면이나 아니 콘도사를 다 주제 general 담아도 상상라 수수 발레 카드 콘도사그레 상상라 수수 예미 미든데라 동예 추도 정말 지버든데 용거래 미신다 수수로 전중으로 제와다 다데데 콘도사 규제 뭔고 열어
Yeah.
콘도사도 사연데 콘도스 슬립 하드 람상 틱 독자 쇼이나 봐 미데질 아니 틱 독자 밀파시에다나 미표저도 마지워 차그러 대다 셰 먹어라 다들 수수에 마지워 차그다로 하면서 아래 마지워 차그다 근데 여기서 다단단에 교연도 쉐데 나 콘도사도 밀 틱 독자 라야 되잖아 그래서 나 드리는 게 빵기 있어 아래 근데 빵기 대 참샤기 있다 나 드리는 참샤기 있어 캘린젠으로 이 나게 콘도사도가 밀어야 나마 쇼치기 있어 나도 담샤라 담샤도 아니 다 산이나니네 콘도사 유진 태용으로 태그를 먼저 지도나 되도 데스팅머리 상마용으로 콘도디 셈나는 레용으로 아니 되네 계좌디야 레용데 미고디야 레용데 다 가가 되기 계좌식입니다 스타나 가가 되기 특수도 까tum나 아니 티카 tumna 아니 미파로라 마지바데 마서 수수 마지오 마서 마지오 마차에 시버스도 하다
Yeah.
제가 다르기도 하던데 특징에 티 어때 딘데스 도구로 거기에 봐도 삼은 딘데 간에 삼다야 요다 딘데 삼다위나 아니 그 딘데 찍이 숨야야야 되도 아니 수술에 시버디 마로 돼야 된대 두세네 먼저 당고 고림단다는 건데 내야 도구로 해서 말하는 줄 내 당보라로
So there's a mode of thinking in sequential steps as beginners, and it goes like this. So for us, even though we have not yet cultivated karma abiding and shamatha, we work with our breath. And we use breath awareness to check our minds and check what is our biggest fault. So let's say that that's getting irritated, being angry, and as a result of the anger, speaking harsh words. For some, it might come out when they're tired and irritated. Some, it might be that others look down on you anyway. The causes for anger, cause and conditions are a lot. Somehow the anger makes it that the harsh speech slips out the mouth, it comes out. And then what happens is it hurts other, but it also harms you. So upon seeing that, you kind of make the self-pledge or resolve not to let that happen again, not to speak out those harsh words. So that second time, the causes and conditions for anger arise, and it reaches the throat. You're about to say that. You refrain. And what happens as a result of not doing it or refraining is that it doesn't upset them and it doesn't upset you. And slowly that's the way you get a cessation, the stopping of these types of suffering, the healing of them. So therefore, it's important that we improve step by step and have more and more peace. So these orders for the beginners are good to know.
다 주주장은 저 컨트롤 쉐어 레라브로
Yeah.
다 독슈의 셈난 담는 텐이로
Yeah.
셈난 담는 텐이제 그래서 다 메제나라 내주 누가 야 담은 중요로 셈나라 야가 들레로 지금 말해 누가 전혀 레용도 셈나라 찍다 네거티브 다우드 전전레드 셈바 마지와 차겠다 이임바라고 알아 근데 제가 가둘라다 아니 가실레 스트레스 용거래 가실 앵자이티 용거래 근데 심 뉴스 드라마로 용거로 가실레 디프레션 유시글레 데 셈나 론리네스로 드라마로 유에 가둘 셈바 마지와 쇼 차데가 가둘 아 우주 검시야더라 오늘 그런 우간라 셈지데 지 우간라 셈 당지 우당지 치도 우도 파도 추도 아니 스스 우 링아당 anga ringa tangado ada yang uktunga tang yang uktunga tangado yang uk bete subuna timdoni jambojik taro yang uk jambojik tangado yang uk dayon jojik tangado damen jojik tangado suste damen tangje ne shebe ne dewi tinde se ne kansajile uk be tangje subuna fa timbodawo je 한지 잠딩딩 저 열다 우중 검자왔는 데네 아니 대용구면 장가지 내려와 우를 장가지 주다 바다 제기 섬지 아세 니슈자직도 잡달라 하라나 배 잠딩이 딱 쉬워 당기게 셈난다 말에 전조상 뭐 가지 셈래 쉬워로 잠딩딩도 연구여로 다디 곡대는 따고로 자 샤초고 다디 다 근데 두둥한데 단단한 거 저도 시도고요. 단단한 거 단단한 저도 시도고요. 아직 용해도 삼 단단직 되네. 수수 심 띵네 시월하고 지금 두야도 다 공된 두야게 탑란데 수수 용해도네 어딘데 단단 워게 단단 공된 신이 상황도 요 파괴주를 얘기하러 와.
Yeah.
저 파괴주도 다 시제는데요. 쉬쉬쉬 주도 해야 되네. 수수께라야 수수로 견제제미 미신다 견제다더니 라네 장가접되어서 그죠 미신다라 미신다라 강보 밀레니아 요래니 모더 지지지 요래 라오나시 수수로 계획에 매네로 와다 이 파괴주고 꼭된데도 망보지 현재와 산제사라 지지 요래 니니 요래 숨숨 요래 라데네 다지 박자지 샤 그러면서 쉬워지게 하스게 뭐 들레 단단한 국중 고문이 잡지네 수수심다 뭐를 줘야 돼 단지 치도나 수수삼바 쉬워지고 다 지금 도스로 지금 도스네 다 들리는데 아니 신도 다 수수심데 거기 유외 두제가는 줄래는데 영어로 지금 처럼 칼라드면서 수수 사셔야지 좋아도 연구로 아니 어디 딜 때네 가서 다이고 잡아지기 한다 다이고 그런 내리 망고를 내용도 하더니 다 뒤에 거기는 잡으러 그래 다이고 잡으러 싫어
like, oh, I see,
거긴
I see.
따고 잡으러 그래
Yeah, yeah.
거긴 신이 상황은 말아 그
Angbodira.
진짜 진주지랑 해서 돼야 되는데 연구로
Yeah, yeah.
디섬로도 단도에나 당도 거긴 신이 타르버스야 돼 두고로 수수 저는 수수 녀외도네 두다는 바데 그걸 깔래가면서 개면도 하고 우중 공자 깔래개면도 하고 어두 상당한데 무슨 셈이 시와당 직하고 셈보당 셈이 다다가가 냐토비나 셈이 시원하네 여러 어디 곰 잡제 수수수 냠뇨 사토비나 거기 요와 두지 약쉐도 저러다 거기 요와 두지 약쉐도 저러다
So then we have minds that are scattered. And this is something we come across a lot. It is that not only we have anger, as we just mentioned, with the first recognition of cessation, but more importantly, discursive thought. We have a lot of scattering of mind in this life. In that context, it's easy for us to go down a negative track. And in some cases, it can turn to the mind being upset, stressed out, and or lonely. However, by being aware of breath control, working with the breath, oh, now I have long exhalations, inhalations, now I have shorter ones, or even just being aware of the way the breath dissipates in the body, dissolves, and then observing that inner quiet, or even just being aware of the sound of the breath. That's a method for pacifying thought. But then also one can count up to 21 cycles, and then again be aware of mind and be aware of mind's quiet nature. Then the mental constructs might have stopped a bit, quietened down, and that is in itself a type of inner peace, or let's say a facsimile of a path, or a facsimile of true cessation. This we can do. This we can cultivate. We can cultivate that deep mental peace and actually experience it personally. That's very important, because the other definitions we're going through, that's all in the continuums of the Aryas. And that's just like being worried about what someone else is saying, but you don't even speak. Yeah? Because these are all like the states of the Aryas and the Buddhahood. But what we can do in terms of our own experience in controlling our breath is to eat our own food and taste it. And this is similar to doing this breathing practice. And it's like this first name we gave to the cessation, that it's a cessation, just a name. But however, because it is something we can do, because it's something through our experience, because we're placing the mind in the present moment, it is the best method for us to accomplish the actual true cessation by means of our experience.
제산다 단단한 저 셈디 유지관의 대통령과
Yeah.
근데 장가져야 돼. 우글 장가져야 돼. 당고 우글 장가 숨아 조용아 니슈도의 장가 지 야토웨네 내저로 지练过다와 셈데 내로 대로 연구요. Dine ya ngab ju ja ni ja sumja de ja to ane ji karja chega to dine kama chik dine wa kama chik dine yu chi ka ne to no da shewjer wa dine wa de do na ane de ya de ane chudu ni ma to ni ma de sim ji we shine ma do kune be mi kwa chik la mi je be ane be ni ma ni sum de to go da wa de shine to yo ma da Dusin zizi we dingi zizi de bet mikwa chikla mikja maying bacha dawa dinde de tuku yorwa.
The Shinirangaware,
Di shineo mare. Dusin zizi we dingi zizi insa de.
Yeah.
O dinde yuwe katula ane, shiwa yorwa de, yu chikla ne zide de. Sim damanda tiya yo mare, amjo damanda kwaya yo mare, kande jivu yorwa ta de. Dinde zi yu ne shiwa ji yorwa.
At the current juncture, our minds can't stay single-pointedly on one object. However, when we can stay with the breath 5, 10, 15, say 20 cycles, we get to that first level of calm abiding, which is called placing. Just being able to place the mind. And then secondly, going up to 30, 100 or 300 cycles without wavering, 30 seconds or a minute is good. And then 6 or 7 minutes until we get up to 1 or 2 days. And then we have service, we start to get serviceability of body and mind that can hold its object single-pointedly for a month. It is still not calm abiding proper. It is still not definitive calm abiding, but holding that object single-pointedly, there's no mental constructs. You're free from that. You don't hear things and so forth.
다 신에 토베라 아니 루심 신장이 대회에서 몇 등이지. 비가 가래가나 샤나 대투니르와 강이촌 매녀지 등이지 고고였다고.
Yeah.
대한데 루 신장 대와 심 신장이 나와게 심베 대회에서 몇 등이지 고고여라 신에서 얘들아.
But, you know, calm abiding shamatha proper is a single-pointed concentration, you know, supported or with the pliancy of physical and mental serviceability. So what it is it's a state of concentration, but the body is in bliss, the mind is in bliss, the serviceability of those two.
제가 아니 딘데기 신내에 내가 될라 아니 직대에 되자 kondongaje 타도사 내가 전 lep세요 만다. 요 가서
And in that state of calm abiding, you know, desires, attachment, ill will, jealousy, all the prides, all of those, they're all stopped. You know, they cannot manifest.
이나요 신내디 냠야요라고 말아서 겨 망골라 신내 터바다 장례 대회 겨 장례 대회를 신내 터여요. 그 신내디 냠래요. 그 신내 띵인지 누바데 마 총로들 아니 대회 녀모 양원디는 신내 냠사래. 나가라래. 그 레라고 쉬어지래. 그래서 강과야 야 빨리 쉬도 말로에 축수지래도 아래. 그지냐래 강과야 로코랑 걸고도 알아. 말로는 동자 쉬대 중에 또 니마지 거만 취조 가셔는 로자.
신남신.
되나시래. 신내 보면 빨리 쉬어요래. 냐면 축수 대회 녀모지 양원디 주는 그 신내 누바데 마데 띵인지 숙충으로 람산 대회 녀모 직류한테 교수는 사다다 신내라서 그래서 다지 가지 다시 신내 텀나 쉬우지 연구에 வர어지 신내 텀은 알아서 껴 먹고 탑사래다 근데
Now, even having cultivated shamatha karma abiding, it can degenerate. And it's the case that in our past lives, we've cultivated karma abiding countless times, because when your single-pointed concentration degenerates, then you lose that calm abiding. It's a bit like it could take years to build a house, but it could come down in an hour or two. Couldn't it? So that means that once the desires manifest again, you know, those gross desires or gross afflictions, then one loses the calm abiding.
어디지 다디네 신의 톱네 되면 녀몽이 람을 줄지 아니 람야 lam gyuliki tijin lamla shuk tijin cholam cholam thona tanda sheranjung la taya tha kante kante parakade parasangade bodhi soha sigdo taya tha sayade sonshi sonshi ro parode son ane gadi gadi sayade tijin cholam tijin cholam sirwa parakade sayade tholam parasangade sayade kolam bodhi soha sayade ane chanjuk de shutu mine nyange thochis dirita 그러다 신의 토요인데 아니 거에 자와 전주 심 규리 심인데 산지 고마 토고도 산지 고마 토와 제월라 고아 방고도 고아 방라 거에 자와 방고도 거에 자와디 디문데 말이 버레샤 대본을 탑신데 아니 다음에 도고도 돈이 도고도 아니 돈이 도고 싫어 다 신의 인간에 항동해야 돼 어디로 가다 신의 인간에 항동해야 하고 그러던 네 대고 지고 많이 봐 대간에 하고 아니 동반이 있어야 또 베셔 대야야 루시 신장의 대외 심배 항동 짓고 그요 양딜래야 베 지금 항동 딜래야 루시 신장의 대외 심배 항동 셔럽 와디시내 심배 안에 봐네 항상 유디 내 심배 안에 아니 라시니 마도 또 봐. 항동에서 학부 통 말아 봐. 내 대외 지고 많이 봐. 이 땅들 아니 대마 마도 봐. 동반이 라시 중업에 내로 근데지 시에버들라 아니 학동에서 그러라.
So then with the cultivation of shamatha, come abiding in the context of the Mahayana vehicle, one has to cultivate a valid path awareness, as we hear in the Heart Sutra, Gati Gati Paragati Parasangati Bodhisattva. So sequentially going through the paths of accumulation, training, seeing, meditation, and no more learning. So gone, thoroughly gone beyond. So it is, soha, that last one is the state of no more learning. So those relate to those 5 paths, but that has to, in order to obtain to the state of Buddhahood, one has to uproot the root of cyclic existence, ignorance grasping at true existence, and that can only be done with the union of calm abiding and special insight, focused on emptiness, focused on the lack of intrinsic nature, voidness. And here also, we talked about the physical and mental pliancy that is an attribute of calm abiding, but here, that bliss, physically and mentally, also relates to the special insight of the path as well. So on the one hand, not only is the practitioner single-pointedly placing, neck, or abiding, but also seeing the lack of intrinsic nature, the vipassana, the insight.
그래서 다들 총람 티제 잔주기 쌤 진내 톱이신 잔주기 쌤 규로 되와다 티진 총람 톱도 그래 티진 총람 내가 저네 아 산제 공부 최대죠 선제 탐제 산제 공부 유 톱도 산배다 쌤 좀만 봐 요인다 산제 공부 톱을 거와 산제 공부 톱을 파주지 디워저드 가래 디모디지 말이 바래와 되게 번제기 람데라 아니 동반이 공부도 선 돈이라 퇴상 공동체 안 돈이도 돌람 내가 돈이도 아니 돈이는 왜 공유로 더 받다 결람나 야포도 그래 다들 돈이 tunjisi기도 별로래로
So for that aspiring person on the path of accumulation, that bodhisattva, once that becomes uncontrived, that bodhicitta, having generated that first path, one sees that what is stopping one from the stage of Buddhahood is the removal of this ignorance or unawareness that incorrectly perceives the reified self or the invalid self. Here then, one understands the importance of realizing emptiness and with regards to that lack of intrinsic nature, has to first hear, reflect, and meditate on it. So the traversing of those first two paths, then having first accumulated the first path, but then understanding voidness by means of the generic image with concentration on it, then traverses to the second path of training.
당저 디 튼지시 또 뭐도세 디 배나 컨데샤 그래라나 배나 먼저 당보 튼지시 또 걸라 디 이나 메나 텐좀사 그래와 다디 레샤 아니 디네 다 줌제지글 데네 타쇼 근데 지고 거래 배차잖아 실로딜라 티치도 그래와 포삼지 유나 메나스로와 도과사 당저 깨시게 그래 데레데레데레시 디 포삼지 유나 메나 포삼이나 키나 시미나 미나 알아?
야.
엔 도과사그라. 안고 그 김제로 지 포삼게 지 고모자단 멘다르지 유도하고 근데 지 세모 타야로 담에리 다 포삼이 인사래 서봐. 난 간사실로 그 포삼게 깨자비나 봐. 꼴 깨자비나. 다 포삼레샤 서봐. 다 포삼이 통해요 말다와. 근데 가서 지 강바실로라. 미 통해요 말에. 먼저 셈난 미좀제 되네 가서 질로로 포삼이 신기를 가르서나. 당기 들으시는 포삼 이나 메나 미나 키나 시미나 산다라. 다들 그 야 토가라 자스나 다디 키 말에 시미 말에 배제 다 포삼레스. 아니 그 깨시게도 포삼기 깨시로. 포삼게 다 포삼레스. 깨들더니 포삼이 임바데 셈나네 다 이지치기도 이는 포삼이 통해 말다 째로 이는 포삼 여어디 신기도 하고 어디 튼지지기 똑서야 돼 어디래 튼지지기 똑서 씹어서야 돼 니 현단데 림바데 다데 가서 빼만 거요 띵원에 지나 가서 좀 메제나라 김진디 디기 들되네 가서 내가 참만 되니 되니 딘데 가는 로데기요
So in terms, what's an example to illustrate understanding something by means of a generic image? First one doubts if something is the case or not. One is oscillating. And then, for example, let's say, do you hear a noise? And do you think, is it a possum or not? Well, it could be a cat. It could be a human. It could be a dog. And you start to doubt all of these. Now, you can't see because it's outside, but you've got some inkling of the way that something is walking and the claws are hitting the ground. You think that it could be a possum, but you can't see it with your eyes. Let's say your eyes are closed. But then you hear this creature go up, and then you think, well, a dog or a cat probably couldn't do that. And then you hear a particular noise that the possum makes. So you start to deepen your doubt turns towards the case that it is a possum, even though you haven't seen it with your eyes. You are inferring this by means of a generic image, and it becomes an insight. And we work with those all the time.
But some
of the reasons that we introduce or infer are completely wrong. Mistaken.
Yes, that the Bena, another that don't need a charge in the Gumzen sometimes. Then a jumores. Then a majority your mares. So similar. Cannot then a majority now shall not be your mares. Then a jumores. And Gumzen sometimes and Susan, yaman, that dear. Yes, similar shower and your mares. Sometimes on the other the easy in your mouth shows you. The deal on the same is sing Chanaji one the Russia water. Sing the Chanadi, Logwatch Chadera, the Chunala Dawa Chadera, and Yemigla Dawa Shergadus, Chunala Dawa dos lab down a zero. Chunan Dawa Yomara, Chunala Dawa the Shergadus, Malami. Think on the same knowledge, Ramune to a Damba to a Nangiora. Now they shooting on a rail on it, Chunang Dawa the one Chavna Zero Chadi. That Raymond sounded. But there are some Mangutana and Susan Yavanigra measure. That mission dog swear Yomare Lamagi 쇠 요마래 막 진라로 잡지신 요마래 수수 상담을 지금 다 암절로 롭존디 라메 되게 아니 기긴 되게 다 배너 모모도 지 소나니 라그래와 저니 사원다 산이 수수래면서 지금 라메 모모세 가서 저거 제가 말아 아 되게 김생의 일들어 라마 모모 신보세 가서 저거 동과 되되는 저거 동과라는 의미지 지금 요마라고 수수사주라고 수수사는 수수 저거도 야고라고 대나시 수수상 단계 레알미시 저게 쉬워지 파 다른 뭐지는 진압 전부 다 산재 좀 된데 취들의 편에 최셔로지 중요함이 저게 뉴모메어 서로지는 어레다 지나치나 상로 땅 지나 뉴모 지나 메어스 뭐 다라래
직파직형.
제거지 야를 저게 이 다샤주를 제 메어서 매직도 지 나를 제대로 된 지에 있는데 당도 동네인데 뉴는 가셔야 그래 산재도 그래서 내단의 시행으로 돼 시행은 아니 오늘다 수수지야르시다 수수지야르시 아니 김제상다 한다 디베트서 야고를 추나가 다와디 나와샤기도 다와레면도 왔어 예심나는 샤든지 저도 나오는 신문에 여러에서는 요 말에 김제 가르서 땐데를 지금 땐에 정말했어 지금 땐에 정말도 땐에 맞중이지 요 말에 상당한데 네 semnala ne tunjisi gi tok sa de ro tunjisi gi tok sa de ti samno ti ta tik pa khoda thwe ma de ji me ji ngara so tunjisi gi to de ni mang we yore so mang we yore ro
So such reasons we can use in terms of generic images around voidness, that things are dependently originated. They are not interdependent, let's say, double negative there, but yeah. So when you understand that, when things appear in your mind to be solid or lacking interdependence, well, you use your own reasoning to think, well, that cannot be. You kind of go, well, it's not like that. It's not like it appears in my mind. Because things appear in one's mind all the time, and one can use supports to understand that it is not independent, that is interdependent, such as the moon and water, using such examples of the reflection of the moon and water, knowing that it's not the moon, it's a mere reflection. And we can apply that to all phenomena that we perceive in our minds. But we have to do this in a kind of very personal way. So when appearances come in the mind, without clinging to them, one has to reflect that they are interdependent phenomena. But one has to come to this personal assertion. This is not coming from a lama. This is not coming from a blessing. Okay, so you can study with a teacher and a lama to understand the mode of perception. But the momos, when you learn to make them, what's the point in learning to make them if you don't eat them? You have to, if you're hungry, you go eat your momos. So you have to think like that, you know. It should not be that, oh, Buddha, the state of Buddhahood is very far away, or Buddha bless me, you know, so that I can Buddha take my afflictions. No, because if you were to ask Buddha, Buddha would say, you do it yourself. It's not going to be like you get an operation or there's magic and the fingers are clicked and suddenly your suffering is gone. So we need to know by these examples, such as the water moon, how to go about understanding through means of generic images, the lack of intrinsic nature through dependent arising and so forth.
model dana ya wera ke model ke yudara
Yeah.
model ke din model din yudusra kana mangwo jena bena ngazo chezo le na model ke din nge mi diri sang haguda model tanda ke su model imba
Yeah.
haguda chesan di ning yudara model thonyo mara ngos ande mi model tani mi 에어 말들에 디미디 수임이 모던하게 미디 수임이 암조니 모델게 다 모델게 지금 스피드 도단 제로야 딜레데네 디디레 신기도 하잖아 디 튼지수기 현대더라고 튼지수기 현대 그래서 튼지수기 똑당해서 어디래다
Yeah, and coming to these assertions by means of generic images can also be by sound, isn't it? That you hear the sound of a car, see the Dharma Center, and you kind of think, who is it? But by the sound of the car and speed, you can think, oh, it's so-and-so, because I know that sound. The car they're driving. You've not seen them, but you have come to this clear ascertainment.
그래서 돈이 튼지수기 또서야 돼 금전지 상담에 세미나를 내원예단 하라래로
Yeah, so, you know, realizing emptiness by means of generic image and familiarizing yourself with that image, coming closer.
다 돈이 무슨 또서도 당저 당기 포함돼 강과실로 마도 포함 미기 무슨 통도 아 되나시래다
So directly realizing emptiness, the possum has come down, is right outside, and we see it.
그때그때 미퉁 땅
Yeah, its eyes are like glistening through the window.
그래서 같이 포함돼 세기다 포함돼 닝지위 통도 닝지위다 닝지위도 다오는
Some people kill them, but there's a beauty there, no? In the possum.
라고도 다저 로다
Yeah, the way they kind of go with their little hands.
nga 샤라 본다르시 따뜻이가 연구를 봐. 더 산살에 미래오지 연구도 깨지면 드릭
덥 친구로 왔고.
다 미래오지 연구면도 어렵다. 아니 로어는 거야 교군안에 따르라. 야 직다. 예 맞직다. 거야 직다. 아니 나 제당에 도그레면 듣던 러시아
So they come and kind of mooch around my house at night, well, sometimes. And I think, whoa, that's quite heavy. A person has come. And they look through the window. They look at me. I look at them. And then they think, oh, that's not a friend. And they...
되는지. 제가 되나시 다 동이 튼지수 졸람네. 아니 동이 무슨도 또 있는데 아니 박바사 차기 여러 박바사 들어. 동이 무슨도 또 왜 남들 되네. 아니 단지 사면데 저 방로다. 단지 사면데 저로. 라미기다. 라미기에 추진 제스도 배낭한서 신도지 매도도지 자고지는 자고셔로.
Yeah.
자디야 고셔는 아니 감배만서 양자지에면도 와. 어디나시 뉴몬게 자어디 그런 방샤들 large maybe children ta gogden sini sama dere da
Yes. So then from that reliance on that generic image, the path of training, to the direct insight into the lack of intrinsic nature, emptiness, one becomes an arya. So here self-grasping and its seeds have been removed so that they cannot come back. It's like called a true riddance. It's almost this word riddance. Riddance in the sense that if you take out the root of a flower or tree, they can't grow back. And this is what's meant by the cessation there. It's a true stopping or riddance.
양저 단다 군조 송난 초군조 라시도와
Yeah.
어디를 단지 돈이 무슨 더 로데다 아니 대도비 뉴모 라미 제베 최전의 제베 방배 곡된 람디 니디 아니 단도 군조 송난 게 초군조서야 되다
Yeah, so when we talk about the three rare sublime ones, that Dharma jewel then exemplifies this. You know, the definition of having abandoned the afflictions, the abandonments, having abandoned the abandonments of the afflictions by means of the path to cultivate a cessation wherein they never return. That's, you know, that defines the cessation state.
세상 최군조의 겹무이 있으니까
Yeah.
지난 다 겹무 다다 차로 돈이 무슨 도스나나 아니 수수주는 요모라 깨요 말다 간대 지고요래로 요모 매번만세 양자지에 매버서라다 아니 다문에 수수 다 타버로지 다 타버지 듬버로지 톱사르니에로
So that, you know, then we can really understand what it means to have refuge. Like you've cultivated a valid path consciousness. The afflictions, not only are they gone, but they can't come back.
다디 줄레데 강산데라 아니 파베 긴두세 안다 군조 숨니나지 군두 군조세 어디네
And the
용거
person who has cultivated that state is called an Arya being, or and from the triple gem, it's the Arya Sangha, isn't it?
다디 베딩은 최중이 도봉은에서 코나도 녀모 빵바 인자 아니 미신달라다 녀모 빵베 람디 로고 치도구로다
Yeah.
녜주 모모 매부 차서 녜 곰데 잠이 냠네데 제위니 저런 가데 유나 용구레스 당원에 도봉은에 차라 로둡 차로라.
And then that's really a spiritual friend, isn't it? The Aryas are really, because that's the friend that can show one that there's freedom from afflictions. They can show one that path. And they say, well, this is what I meditated upon. If you meditate like this, then you'll reach this state and so forth. And and then that becomes a person you can trust. Trust.
파과식도 전에 파과토라 파과스데 어수수 겨울에 겨와데 파과 가리 겨와데 파과라서나 녀모 라르 미제와지 빵사다 먼저 녀모 빵 두고요 말 근데 녀모 빵 왔다 양자제면 저스르다 겨와데 파과 차송다로.
Now then such a person becomes a pakpa or an arya, and here we're saying they're different from ordinary beings. In what sense? That the afflictions have been abandoned and they can't come back. So that's different from a non-Arya being.
제자다 돈잉무순도 베데 람네시 대덕이 아니 녀모 라르미게베 최전의 소용도 아니 데라 곡된스니 스토부여와 다 대신고라다데.
So what we should know is that the wisdom, consciousness, realizing emptiness, cultivating that is a valid true path. But the resultant state where the afflictions are abandoned and they're gotten rid of, they're truly stopped, they can't return, that's true cessation. So it's good to know those two there. So we're up to the second of our 10 now, which is called like a profound cessation. No.
티젠 파괴주의 꼭 낸데라 아니 사베고 바스 다 당기 티젠 파괴 차송아 디지 꼭 낸데 다 사베고 바스.
So what's an example of this second one, a profound cessation? The cessation in the mind of a great vehicle Arya.
아 사발라야데 팅미기 꼭 낸레 사바인자 텐데질 코 공으로.
Yeah, we want to kind of distinguish it a bit from the lower vehicle cessations. So we're giving it the name profound.
Somebody 된담배고 보다가 된담배고 보셔야지 파괴주의 거든. 다 파괴라.
치르파기라.
아.
치르기파기라.
치르파과 창마.
Yeah, all areas.
파괴 년대 파괴 란제 파괴 파괴 창매주의 거든.
So the third one, which we said was ultimate cessation, is the cessation in the minds of all Aryas. So like hearers, solitary realizers, bodhisattvas.
다 아니 요스 마저베고 보사디 팅미 로버 파괴주의다. 팅미 로버 파괴주의라 여러와데 요스 마저스디 단다. 디징 유모도 봐 요마라.
So then the fourth one then is not thoroughly complete cessation, is the cessation in a lower vehicle practitioner's mind that hasn't yet vanquished the abandonments of the great vehicle.
So
they're given different names. So if you just quite simply think not thoroughly complete, just think that the afflictions are not thoroughly abandoned. That's an easier way of.
팅미 다주메지 거든데 제가 녀모 용서 빵마 인자 아니 용서 저거 거든스다 녀모 다좀 팅미 다좀 팅미 다좀.
Yeah, so then the next one, thoroughly complete cessation, is the in the foe destroyer of the lesser vehicle's mind, that cessation. So they've thoroughly abandoned.
다 두번 두벌와
Mhm.
두벌이 게임에가 보고 게임에 보고서야지 실을 장배철에 네 넘버도 학제다 좀뭐 빼나 팀미들라 학제 써야지 동해 풍물 항마다 제대요 아니 될어야 아니 다음에도 왜 실업이 단지 빵 단지 될어야 아니 가서 그래 감송게 네 단다 묘모 라바 묘모 바고야다 직nembe lamjora
Mhm.
직nembe lamge 직nembe lamta penanga shine hangdo shine de la nyeto mejo messenger nyeto chi tito ge nyomo pangbe pangba de tobyo mare yeme osa de la sherab se de damedo be sherab ge nyudi pangbe pangba top zamjire mejo jige ani kamsungge 야 nyomo pangbe pangba chik tobyo marka de
Le sumsang.
진짜 아니 예매 와스 하제년데 동해 부물하마다 제와 텔레콘
Itrukparawa.
두바팅 셔러
Yeah,
장배설에
just go, just go. Slowly,
다데스
slowly.
거고
So liberation with remainder. Yeah, without ornament. So this is when, yeah, this is when they have,
두바팅
yeah, just go. Yeah, it's like when with calm abiding, you have, like let's say you've realized you've gotten rid of self-grasping, but tainted aggregates remain. Or, you've realized or just abandoned part of the gross attributes of the desire realm, but not as broad as the three realms comes from. So therefore, there's something more to do. So it's without ornament. Mhm.
양디 고알렌다 디둘 투마데시 다데데스 띵사우 또 차로고
Yeah.
그때 와서는 하제년데서 예매었으디 셔러 정말 하제에서 동해 부물하마다 제대로 가서는 말 년도에 졸람 졸람 먼저 류된데 지고라 먼저 류된데 독내래 되어라 독내 풍부의 마방 맞체 다좀에고 맞답된 게저로 딜라야 아니 거샤나 거야 되다 딕스 코나이틱
Take me a mudden sort of air.
팀에
So liberation with remainder.
Was that liberation without remainder or without ornament?
Well, the one with remainder is called without ornament. Yeah.
So they're the same thing.
Yeah, well, one's given a name, Geshe is explaining what they are. Yep.
But I guess in succession.
Yeah, they kind of swap around.
So number 6 was cessation without ornament, then there was cessation with ornament. Number 8 was.
Yeah, number 6 should be liberation with remainder, hence without ornament. Number 7 should be liberation without remainder with ornament. So you swap them around.
Okay, so that means there's only 2, that means 2 there, not 4. Because with the ornament part was 2, with ornament without ornament, that's 2. And then another 2 was with remainder without remainder, that's 2.
No, they're just the names. Those are just explanations of what they are. So if you look at number 6, it's without ornament. So it's what the explanation of that is liberation with remainder. Yeah. So they've realized they've stopped self-grasping, but tainted aggregates remain. That's number 6.
So what's number 8 then?
Number 8 is cessation with remainder.
number 제바들와
Yeah, it's different.
그거 더블을 줄 때래
It's similar, but it's not the same.
네 제바디 믹스 카레 년도 다져 말아라 네
Yeah.
제바디 데려와 셔러 장배설에 number 2 년도 다져메지 고된라도와
Yeah.
아니 두바디 셔러 장배설에 number 2 하제년데 라빈데 지난걸 하제년데로 라면서 년도 다져면서 믹스에 다니체요.
Yeah. So the 6th one is generally liberation with remainder, but the 8th one is just for the hieropho destroyer. Yeah, so the 6th one is more like a general explanation of cessation, but the 8th is more accurately saying hieropho destroyer. So they're different.
이제 두바디나라 란제다 좀 봐요시로.
Yeah, I think The sixth could refer to a solitary view.
Dela togo jegyo, dela di zoba jegre.
Yeah. Anyway, these are points of debate.
Jime yigze dan di taxi de dana ya wa. Ye taxi togo ya. That the togo da yawa nimdo dosa so. And dumba di nige chale number 2 how many that's it.
Yeah, Dikarana, number 7, what is it?
Jidan shero changbo la di dara re. Dame do we.
It's got Sherab
Sherab changbo dame do we sherab chigo to be ta jomba de che. Jigdile debe lam chigo lam kona ta do dus shtange de ya de dame do be sherab kon tu do da. Lam jigdile deba lam jigdile lam ni yorwa. Are jigdile lam sana shine da nyeto da ngushi da do zola de ne nyomo pa ni lam jigdile lam so gore. Jigdile debe lam se de jigdile phagwe ju dame do we sherab jorwa. Dame do we phagwe ju dame do we sherab de la. Ani jigdile debe lam che. 다른다 셔럽 장보 라인데 다음에도 왜 셔럽 지고 또 그터베 다좀 받을 셔럽 다음에 로다 동반이도 왜 셔럽 여러 뒤에도기 녀모 방법 타는데 셔럽 장보에 살래 잘 이것도 다음에도가 당 지금벨 데벨 람 섬데다 녀도다 텐데 니대 고말라 되네 니 차도 람니도 이게 찾아야 돼 다음에도 왜 싫어다 니 지금벨람 신의 행동 신의 다 신의서 말해다 스텔레야 삼리 중무시 여러와 삼리 중무시 어디에도게 네 더와들 싫어 니게 찾 니
This job was some geranga than the human do.
니요 저당에 라이만 주스타 지면 삼성 도 데 삼성 데스 맞은 하고 말데
Yeah, so angi dumba dit sebo kale lagi na. Angi dumba.
dum바데 니게 잘알세 라기베 니게 찾아서 니 라기도
Pene gen yeberwa. Angu di gen yomerwa. Again.
겐 요바다 겐메 라기도
Again yebadi.
겐단 째와 겐메
Again dan chewa tare.
겐단 째와서야 될라 니게 잘래 남들한테 아래
Yeah. Odi.
니가스데 니 라기도 당연히
Yeah. Sure, lana.
찍다 가르서 다음에도 왜 싫어 찍 다음에도 왜 싫어
Chick.
찍 직된베람 같이 도스랍시네
Right. So, number 7. Liberation without remainder. There are these two attributes to it. One is wisdom, conscious realizing, emptiness or non-self. And the other is jiktingi.
직된베람
The other is like a worldly path. Peshana.
다든데 신의 당 녀도 당 무시당 도저
So those, the second part of this twofold aspect of number 7, the first of which we said was, direct understanding of non-self. The second part has like a worldly attribute, so things such as calm abiding, clairvoyance, etc. Yeah, so that should be number 7.
맞죠. 다 제가 다디 저런서 지명한서 삼성 티라 삼성나는 세우 차그래라.
But in later classes, when we teach samsuk, the absorptions, these will become clear. Yeah, apart from that, to go through these thoroughly is going to be quite complicated.
다 항마다 째워서 예와도 도사서
Yeah, so 8 was cessation with remainder, peshana, dratomba, ninto dratombaki.
네, 인도 다짐에 주지 아니 양대.
Right, so now 8, cessation with remainder, is the true cessation in the continuum of a hero destroyer.
제가 장받을다. 네.
Yeah, that also has just one wisdom attribute there, not the twofold worldly one as we mentioned. Gupa?
정말 매웠어야 되라. 그래.
Gupa, reje.
정말 매웠어야 되라. 니게 찰레 넘버 2 하미냐데 니들 다주면 요거데. 니게 찰스라잖아. 직된다 직된랜데 람 니게 찰레 하미냐데 니들 다주면 요거데.
Sitan Lamlatan.
니가 세 니들 타가 니 우슬라잖아.
I've lost it on the iPad now. I
아유
Google it 봐.
아 그거들요.
Yeah,
니게
I
차
read. Nyentugi.
니게 차례 넘버 12 하면인데 규지 니들 다주면지 거기 알아.
Je.
이제 니게 차서 니가서 직된
Lache yomare, lache nebra ba.
항매
Oh, lame, what days?
항매
Yeah. So number 9, cessation without remainder. Kishlu yangjir.
니게
Nyentu
차서
dokamba.
니게 차서 니들 다주면들 니샤오래.
Je.
아 학제다 항매 다루스 거시.
Yeah.
학제 사들 학과제는 근데 다 졸람 고람 용거로 봐. 근데 당보 졸람 톱지 먼저 찍어래. 먼저 류딘 찍어래. 먼저 류딘이 독대로 봐. 독대 마방에 내가 그년도 다주베들 학제에서 그래.
Right. So now, to understand number 9, the true cessation of a hero foe destroyer. So there are these foe destroyers with remainder and without remainder. And with remainder, let's say they're traversing the 5 paths, accumulation, training, seeing, and they get to that path, a valid path, but they still have like a tainted body, still have a contaminated body. So that's with remainder.
다 뒷방내로 봐.
Yeah.
먼저 풍부닝보다 빵샤 얘기.
Yeah.
얘들 다주들 항매서. 나그 동이 그 풍부 항만 매봐.
Yeah, but when those contaminated or tainted aggregates are completely abandoned, then it becomes like a foe destroyer without remainder. Yeah, so we should know that, the foe destroyers are of like these 2 classes, one that has a remaining tainted aggregates and one that does not, one that has abandoned them.
다든다 니가 다 셔라 장바사도 제메 삼수기 진도도 네 세보 차그래 다데 제메 삼수기 진도 야군이야라야 네 말자 샤쇼스.
But the other ones that we mentioned that have 2 attributes, one being a wisdom attribute and one being like a more worldly cultivation, we should wait till we get into the classes about absorption to understand those thoroughly.
주버디 미네베냥데서 산제 과거주ኛ데들다.
The last one, non-abiding nirvana, is exceptional or non-differentiable cessation, is the cessation in the mind of an Arya Buddha.
거기 주다들에 거기 여.
Those are the 10, basically.
다데 저저 장가자도 바자다 샤그로 앞에 바자 샤그로.
Yeah, so to count them puts an imprint in our mind.
야디 가시게 다디 그거 연말에라랑 그거 지금세 통고랑 네 다주메지 고된데서 수수심이 되는 로데로 수수심이 되는 로데도 아니 빙하지 세고도 아니니 제고에 가슴 제고에 심태 두절 만들어지 심디베디가 신다지가 약사지가 샤샤로 전다 전부지가 샤샤로 제가 디니 내가 그거가 니모님의 강에서 오르던데 메제디 강에서 오르던데 지진내주 준주도 셈난 저서거나 여마다.
Yes.
네 펜도 쉬지 그러다. 양의 당이 양한테 좀 거하려고 어떻게 하냐가요. 양 보러.
Yeah. So some people might think, well, what's the point of knowing all these like 10 cessations? The mind could go down that route. But then, rather than thinking all about something not valid or negative or what someone said, if you concentrate on things like this with greater meaning, and you have zest and interest in them, then it stops these other kind of worldly thoughts that are really temporal and really don't have much benefit.
네 먼저 니나네 가르친 것은 먼저 풍부디 류디 방자인 바디 신고 류디 지우진지 제만 딱고 방에레스 고샤에레스 간다.
What we should get from this is that the body that we have is to be abandoned. It shouldn't cling to it too much.
지우지 진지 제요 말에 딱고 방에레스 다좀버 전에 방고다 다좀에 이 귤레 풍분 내리 걸 하게 자기도 알아. 진짜 어다 대다지면은 빵거거든. 근데 가르에서는 그 시딜르디네 동에서 고여라는 거. 루디요나 아니 클래스하고도 둘로 공부도 많이 어려도 알아. 아,
They are to be abandoned, these aggregates, because if we remain with tainted aggregates, we have to get rid of them anyway. I mean, that's what the foe destroyers do, ultimately. And bodies are a whole lot of trouble. You have to eat, you have to put clothes on them, and all that. And you have to wash them. Stop now. Questions?
Yeah.
There's a couple of things in terms of exam I'm not quite clear about yet. So one is, I don't think I understood yet, what is the difference between true cessation and liberation? Could you get to that, please?
Yes, true cessation and liberation. So the question was, what is the difference between true cessation and liberation? Kishla kokten dang nyangde, kokten dang tapak kebakabis.
곡된래 디 녀모마 카노와지 라미지베 추진디 제나 딜라 곡된스 그래 타르바사디 콜레 타르와 녀모마 탐제레 타르와지고 그래라 곡된라 녀모 탐제레 타르와 인지미지 샤마 녀모 제다버지 되베 녀모 방바 타드 녀모 사탕보 박베네가 곡된 두고도 사 박보터와데 곡된 두고 될래 타르와 두고요 말와 타보도 다좀버 두고요레스 어디 쳐와요레스
True cessation is a state where the afflictions cannot return, they've been completely gotten rid of. But liberation is the state of being completely liberated from cyclic existence. The typical pangsane, yomon, sama, yeah, so in order to be liberated, the state of liberation is, all of the afflictions are abandoned. But in terms of true cessations, some of them or a part of them have been abandoned. And it got in la sangma yom sangma. Yeah, so for a cessation, you can have just, for example, abandoned the gross levels of the desire. Yeah, yeah. Lamigeo yineang, he dipin yumon.
No, the way you more land me give it you. What is
Yineang tapa marwa.
Tawamari, or Nero? In Chavashas on.
Yeah, so true cessation is that those gross levels of desire have been abandoned and can't return, but it's not liberation.
There was a second question that had to do with what are the divisions of true paths? I don't think we've got yet. Oh, that wasn't part of the question. It was a question. It is characteristics. Not a question. Well, oh yeah, there is a
Lamdingi yawa.
I'm Ying Yawa. The Yawa de Yan Tago, that's in your niece. Lama.
Yeah.
Lam Tambuni de Tolam Jolam de Tabarwa. Tolam Gonam, Milolam de Tinura, or Dusre.
Yeah, so we could say that the 5 paths in terms of true paths, the first 2 are like similitudes, accumulation and joining, and the ones that are definitive or real true paths are seeing, meditation.
Okay, now.
No, I have a question. Just the on number question 13, it's talking about true cessation, what are the divisions, how many characteristics, and what is a sign you have actualized cessation? Does that mean what is a sign you have actualized true cessation, or just a
general? Yes. So Gishla, the question was attributes of true cessations. What's the sign that you've actualized true cessations? Is that a true cessation proper or just a general one? Geshe Gokten Tobyoki Ta Karitas.
딱 그래요.
Yeah, Ta Karitas. The Gokten Unire yang mana Gokten Rengao Gokten Nekap Gokten Chatumba.
딱 그래요.
Yeah. Kasana nganzo jikse nangla Gokten.
고덴토베 딱.
Yeah.
고덴토베 딱들라 아니 간산디 줄래야지. 묘모 제베 진 가져 테나 묘모 양게 제가 말해. 좋아. yen kadzo tebi na jen tegi mare, ane semi kadzo ene shiwe kala nyato kore, ane yangyara lam lokwa ma yungu mare, roa, teta ta tozoro wata.
The signs that a person has a true cessation are that they meet with the conditions for afflicted mental states, but they're not produced, and that their minds are always pacified in peace, and so forth.
그래.
Yeah.
어때셔?
It's stop for today.
And then there was questions 6 and 8 seem to be the same question. It says on the context, what is the difference between virtuous and non-virtuous karma? And then question 8, there was virtuous and non-virtuous and neutral karma. How is it?
그래, 좋아지고 것이다.
Yeah, but there's a difference there with the neutral, though.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, it's kind of.
Yeah, I think I pretty much checked what Geshe spoke. So Geshe, what's 6 again?
6 is in the context of true origin. What does karma mean?
Is that the question?
Virtuous and non-virtuous karma.
Right.
And give examples.
Yeah.
And then the next question is there is virtuous, non-virtuous, and neutral karma. How do you distinguish them?
I see,
Anyway,
I
it's a
see.
pretty similar question.
So Tiwa Trupa di Kunjungi Kola Gavad Kasa.
레지군요.
Lay nang ne. Lay Gavad am Gava ni urvad.
그래.
Dini la Kipakartu Diang Tiwa Jepala Chir Lay Gava Migava Lungmatin. Isomla Kandasiawa Trupa.
내가 강화대 진실어라, 오마대 김진도로
Yeah, the top one, 6, is to give examples, and the latter one, 8, is to give reasons.
김진식으로.
Yeah, you have to give
Kalchen.
reasons in number 8.
가신 미교다.
Yeah, why is it a non-virtual or virtuous karma? Why is it neutral? To give reasons to back up. But in the first question 6, you could just give sincere
examples.
examples. You could.
Okay. Is there not clear? That's just it. Let's stop here.
We'll stop now.
Whatever it's like on the strategic imagination creation by paying homage over and acknowledging that whole. I dedicate all research and direction to dedication related to this. By the first concept on 3 times, but on my performance and concept to see. Making self compounded way of down practical knowledge, by the undeveloped soul being satisfied, and all conducive circumstances be complete. And then I believe coming through for in this world. failure of silent teaching and translating things. Communication clear the path of unification, happiness and compassion. To the lowly soul retaining the absolute speech. My Lord, holy, spontaneously fulfilled. You are called the secure moral way, serve the gospel bearable, sustain, preserve, and spreading on Janelle's victorious doctrine. Remarkably accomplishment and some prayers on its rituals. Save of myself and others, your disciples, please, please, to your return. For allowing me to accumulations of myself and others in 3 times. May the teachings of the conqueror Lord and direct love lays for a long time. The ability to honestly live the children of the victorious one. From his and teachable is victorious Lord and Father and Son, along with the lineage masters. All the objects of refuge in infinite lands, please bestow devotion, goodness of accomplishing this prayer here and now. Holding and spreading the morning's precious and complete teachings, through the explanation and practice, you boil the humble and patience that is the old courage. Incomparable will grow to you only. Lord, striving symbol pointedly for the sake of the victorious one's teachings, the soul gateway, for all benefit and happiness and merge. And for all other living beings who suddenly departed to peace, what a great loss. Nevertheless, through the unseen truth of the blessing of the ocean of the 3 jewels, in the great ways of what the children of the children of the victorious ones, may the smile of reincarnations of the gleam and glory before time.
Your Monday last, isn't it?
Next Monday is
No, we have one more.
We have one more. Is the exam?
No exam.
No.
Exam you want to do after I leave. You want? You say.
Okay, doesn't matter.
So how many people are doing the exam? 2.
Yeah. See what I thought. Exam. Exam.
Because I know about the online people, did they?
Did anyone show an interest about the exam members?
Oh, nobody said.
Well, it's only if you all know.
And Elaine and Arahol, that doesn't mean they're not.
Yeah, but that might be.
And then what will it same thing?
Okay, so that one's open book, Monday. Because recently you put in past, you've done it as open book, haven't you, the Monday?
No, no. It's usually giving us questions.
You have a question there, you had.
No, but we're not going to be answering these.